Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur and your host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It's great to be with you. August 2nd here, 2024, whether you're watching me live or maybe you're watching me another time, any other time is fine. Thanks so much for popping in. We have an amazing show for you tonight. The title is Olympic Tech Controversies and AI Innovations. We're on Series 3, and this is Show 31, and welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. All right, guys, so the first topic is the Summer Olympics opening ceremony criticisms. All right, so most of you don't know my religion. I usually don't make that part of the show, but I will let you know. So I am proud practicing Roman Catholic. And the opening ceremonies, to me, let's just say they were a little bit below the belt. The opening ceremony of the 2024 Paris Olympics faced, as we know, substantial criticism for incorporating the performance of the drag queen based on Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, which many perceived as disrespectful, myself included, to religious beliefs. And quote unquote, we were shocked by the mockery of the Last Supper during the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics, a company posted, C-Spire. So I think, you know, when we think about the Olympics and we think about the fact that, you know, if you made a mistake, okay, go ahead and apologize. But, you know, the way they've been so blatantly rude and so condescending, it's a big problem. I mean, that was one of my biggest videos for the week. People loved what I was talking about with that. But, you know, the grand opening of the Olympics was disrespectful. Okay. It was disrespectful. And I think a lot of people, you know, maybe didn't understand that, you know, the cadence to the Last Supper tableau. And, you know, I get that they were trying to create a table of unity, but that's not what they were doing. In one scene from the opening ceremony, a dinner platter lifted to show pretty much a almost nude French actor, Philippe Catherine, singing. In the background, dancers and drag queens struck poses along this long table. Panning through the tableau, camera first showed a person crowned with an aerial in the front of the DJ turntables. The next shot showed the rest of the table lined with performers holding their poses. The table then transformed into a catwalk as the drag queens and other models took stage in a homage to Paris's fashion scene. The official X account for the Olympic Games shared photos of the moment and referenced what happened. And they actually removed the footage, which, you know, I think they realized what they did and what happened. And I'm not saying people are perfect, but this was very, very disrespectful, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, really, really disrespectful. So I will tell you that this kind of gave me a reason to not want to watch the Olympics. I still tuned in to watch a couple of things, but I really got very disheartened by the whole concept of the Olympics. All right. In other news, there is now an AI multi-camera replay in the Olympics. This is actually pretty cool. Alibaba Cloud, the technology arm of Alibaba Group, tested its AI-enhanced multi-camera replay service at the Olympic qualifier series in Shanghai, and has deployed it at various venues during the Paris 2024 Olympics. The innovation offers a dynamic view experience. Selena Yuan, president of international business at Alibaba Cloud Intelligence, expressed excitement about collaborating with the Olympic Broadcasting Services, OBS, to elevate sports broadcasting. And she emphasized their goal was to redefine how global audiences engage with the Olympics using advanced cloud technologies. Okay, so my whole thing with this, it's great that Alibaba did this, and that's wonderful. But, shouldn't we have some stuff coming from the United States? I mean, that's my feeling. I mean, I think it's great that we have some contributions coming to, the Olympics, and people are trying to do their very, very best. I think that's a great thing. But I think a lot of people, don't really understand a lot of these technologies, and they don't really understand like why they're surfacing. And I want to let you know that these technologies that we're seeing now and we'll see in the future, they're actually causing people to do a lot. And, that's important. And a lot of you are confused, though, about it. What do you think about it? How would that affect you? Tell me the truth, guys. How will that help? Or will it not help? What does that mean? I think that a lot of people realize that artificial intelligence and the multicam replay is just going to allow people to connect and be part of the Olympics and be part of that whole sport. Well, the major firm pulls the Olympic ads, and this is C-Spire, which, in case you guys are just wondering maybe a little about C-Spire. So C-Spire is a home fiber, internet, wireless, and business IT solutions company. They are, they are obviously, doing what they're doing, and they're located actually in the beautiful state of Mississippi. So when they saw what happened in the opening ceremonies, okay, the major tech company, C-Spire, withdrew its advertising sponsorship immediately for the Paris Olympics, following the intense backlash over the performance in the opening tragedy ceremony that many, including myself, found deeply offensive and blasphemous. The controversial act, as we said, involved things that we talked about before, and it was really perceived as an insult to Christians. The 2024 Olympic Games began in Paris on July 26 with a citywide opening ceremony and featured thousands of athletes and performers and star-studded performances by Lady Gaga, Celine Dion. But the controversy, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, overshadowed these amazing events. And I think whenever you do something, okay, you have to remember that it's about diversity, it's about inclusion, it's about not discriminating for race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, color, okay, political party. You have no right to do that. And if you're going to do something like that to try to get a rise or to try to get sales, I just have lost so much respect for you. And just like the other 2.6 billion people in the world, they lost respect. They lost respect. In fact, a priest post went viral. Okay, it went viral from the Olympic opening ceremonies. And this is something that you probably wouldn't expect. But it was the bishop goes viral for a reaction to the Olympic clear mockery of the Last Supper. And I think, everyone knew what they were doing. Okay. They might have tried to hide it. Again, the Olympic Games official X account wrote, quote, the interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of absurdity of violence between human beings. Ancient gods were marked by extraordinary amounts of violence, Barron had said, and the Christian churches looked at the ancient myths and saw these problematic depictions of ultimately reality, Christianity proposing a God who is indeed a God of love, of forgiveness, compassion, and of non-violence. So I think this is a real problem, and it just reemphasizes the whole point that this was a complete mockery. I don't think I've ever seen a company pull ads for any type of major sports event, whether it's football, baseball, soccer, hockey, right? Basketball, the Olympics. Never have I seen that before. All right. In other news, Intel's RAG chatbot for athletes is getting a spin around the block. And so, it's important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that RAG is something that was kind of, I don't know, it was something that really didn't have a lot of, let's say, support in the beginning. Intel's RAG chatbot leaps data hurdles at the Paris Olympics. So Intel and the International Olympics Committee, the IOC, have developed a multilingual retrieval augmented generation RAG chatbot named Athlete 365, designed to assist athletes navigating the complexities of large events like the Olympics. It's actually available in English, French, Spanish, Mandarin, Russian, and Arabic. The bot facilitates athlete inquiries and interactions by providing on-demand information during the stay in the Olympic Village in Paris. Kaveh Maherbai, a former professional badminton player and IOC Athletes Department Director, highlighted that Athlete 365 was created to simplify access to information, a challenge intensified by digitization. Built on the open platform for enterprise AI, OPEA, standards, Athlete 365 employs advanced AI systems while ensuring compatibility with orchestration frameworks and, of course, robust security features. So I think this was a great use of AI and hopefully something that a lot of the athletes probably appreciate, and something that it's going to allow facilitation for greater security, for greater awareness, and to be able to serve up information 24 hours a day. All right, so thinking about these things, that gets us into Olympic safety and security tech. This is pretty cool. As the world focuses on the Olympics, okay, venues have transformed there into fortified hubs of technological security. Real-time monitoring through facial recognition and advanced surveillance systems detects potential threats, while innovations in crowd management and emergency protocols work to maintain a safe environment for both spectators and athletes. I think this is amazing what they did. People say, gee, what is the security at the Paris Olympics? And so, although we can share some details, a lot of it has been kept, let's say, under wraps for a reason, because they don't want to make it public. The thing about it is, I get that everybody wants to know what's going on, but I think the big challenge is that a lot of people are not out to help the Olympics. They're there to harm it. So I think this is a big issue. And when we think about inside, security operations at the Paris Olympics, it's really vast. Okay. They have ramped it up quite a bit as the Olympics got underway. And at the Joint Operations Center inside the U.S. Embassy in Paris, special agents and data analysts with State Department's Diplomatic Security Services, DSS, scan the web, taking information from agents embedded at all 40 Olympic venues, and listen to chatter to ward off any trouble that could potentially be a problem. Quote unquote, we're looking for safety and security information, so any kind of threats that might materialize, whether they be terrorist threats, protest information, safety and security, even weather-related issues, quote, says Tim Ayers, director of major events coordination for DSS. And again, DSS stands for Diplomatic Security Services. Ayers' team has been preparing for the Olympics for 3 years, working closely with the French authorities and international partners, exchanging key information about security with only one goal in mind: keeping American athletes and fans safe. So the task involves having agents live in the host city ahead of the Olympics, which they did. Ayers had said something very interesting. One of his top concerns is a lone wolf attack. Quote, you can watch everything, you can have your resources out there, but if somebody makes a decision to do something, it's going to be up to them, and that's up to the French state to really respond to that. Ayers had said, what will we do? Is we'll try and circle up and make sure those U.S. athletes are safe at all times. Another worry is security meltdown from a cyber attack, quote unquote. We put together the resources to try and look after any kind of cyber attacks and strengthen cyber defenses. Ayers said, however, as you saw with CrowdStrike, any kind of cyber incident that debilitated flights going all over the United States and overseas, it's something that's concerning. But we've tried to put together all the resources we can, and we're working with the French government to exchange resources to make sure that we're all on top of it to try and identify it before it happens. They said something very interesting in the interviews before the Olympics started, and that was the fact that we want security to be something that's not really talked about. Meaning, if it's not talked about and it's forgotten, then that means that everybody has done their job. All right, we've got a lot to talk about yet. So VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality. And we've talked about this before, and people say to me, John, what is the difference between AR and VR? Okay, so really, it's simple, okay? There is a difference, and it's pretty easy to understand, okay? When we think about virtual reality, okay, it takes over your vision to give you the impression that you're somewhere else. That's VR, like on a PlayStation headset or something like that. That's what VR does, okay? Augmented reality replaces your vision. Augmenting reality adds to it, okay? So virtual reality replaces your vision. Augmented reality adds to it. So AR devices such as Microsoft HoloLens, the original Google Lens, and various enterprise level smart glasses are transparent, letting you see everything in front of you as if you're wearing a pair of clear glasses. And augmented reality adds to your reality, okay? Virtual reality replaces your vision. So hopefully that explains it a little better. But when we think about, the Olympics and VR and AR, they've done something pretty cool, ladies and gentlemen. They've come up with something called basically the enhanced fan engagement. So immersive technologies such as the virtual reality, which replace your vision, augmented reality, which add to your vision, are revolutionizing the fan experience by providing at-home viewers with front-row experiences of live events, not just the ones that are in the stadiums or actually at the Paris Olympics. From the thrill of a 100-meter sprint to the calm focus of archery, the innovations bring excitement of the stadium directly into fans' living rooms, and the new era of interactivity invites spectators to connect with events in ways that were never really possible before. And I think it's going to be more like, you go to a 3D movie. We've all gone to 3D movies and you put those, cheap glasses on. We're going to start seeing 4D, 5D, and 6D. So this is a question. What is 6D reality? 6D is something that they're still working on. It's a 6-dimensional space. And it's pretty amazing. Okay, so what is a 4D reality then? Well, similar. 4D is different. 4D reality in life is a 4-dimensional space. Okay. Then we have a 5D reality, and we have a dimension of reality that can be seen as an intersection point between physical reality, the third dimension, and spiritual reality, the fifth dimension. So there's a lot going to happen with things that are transpiring. And so when we think about all this stuff, especially what's going on with the Olympics, it's really crazy. Now, for a while, and being a first responder, I have to tell you, we had a class just last night on Narcan, because Narcan. Because a lot of people here in Franklin Lakes, I'm sure it's no different all over, is that, Narcan is what's given, and it's actually a device that's actually squirted up your nose. And what it does is it causes the receptors in your body to basically block the keys that are trying to enter them and cause them to go into the altered state. So really cool. And they explained that a lot of people are doing things like, the chocolate chip cookie problem. If you don't mix your batter correctly, well, you might get a cookie that has one chip in it, might have 15 chips in it, or might have no chips in it. Well, if you do that in drugs, that could be a real source for somebody dying. And if you decide you're going to cook your cookies, instead of being 350 for 10 or 12 minutes, you're going to put the oven on for 600 or 500 degrees you're going to burn your cookies. And that's a real problem too. So technology has always been important, but in the Olympics, anti-doping is something that a lot of people have been curious about because there was no way to stop it. Well, now they have fair play, continuous efforts to be a fundamental aspect of the Olympic spirit, supporting advancements now in drug testing and data management innovations like blockchain technology, helping maintain the integrity and transparency of athletes' information, protecting the essential values of competition. So you might be saying to me, John, how? And it's a very good question. How does the Olympics, anti-doping technology work? Well, the Olympics tests for doping in a lot of different ways. The WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, develops and coordinates anti-doping rules and policies across all sports and all countries. The IOC, which we talked about before, International Committee of the Olympic Committee, and it's established a zero tolerance policy to combat cheating and hold accountable anyone responsible for using or providing doping products. The organization's efforts are focused on prevention through detection and deterrence. And so they are using different technology to make sure that people do not try to dope. This is pretty interesting because a lot of people out there don't realize that this is happening. So the athlete is notified by a doping control officer or chaperone that they have been selected for doping control testing. It just happens. And they are informed under which ADO authorities they are being tested. They report to the doping control station. Pretty easy. Once they do that, they are basically they may be excused for medal ceremonies, etc. Even though they've checked in. The athlete must report to the doping control station immediately. This is very important. So choosing sample collection vessels such as urine samples or blood collection kits. The athlete will choose a urine sample collection vessel from a selection made available by the doping control personnel. If a blood sample is collected, the athlete will choose a blood collection kit from a selection made available by the doping control personnel, and then they will provide the sample. The DCR chaperone will witness the passing of the urine sample when the athlete is ready to provide it. So they are really doing this a strict way because, when you normally go for testing, like urine testing, you go in the privacy and then you would basically give it back to, the medical assistant, and they would go from there. Well, the DCO or the chaperone will witness the passing of the urine sample when the athlete is ready to provide it. The blood collection officer will draw the blood from the athlete using 2 vials, which will become A and B samples. Splitting of the sample, the athlete will divide their urine into the A and the B bottles, saving a residual amount of urine in the sample collection vessel. The B sample affords the athlete the opportunity to have a second analysis performed in the event their A sample returns an adverse and analytical finding, a positive result. So they've even done that. If the blood sample is collected, the blood vials will be placed in the A and the B sample. Only 1 vial will be necessary if the blood sample is collected as part of an athlete's biological passport program. So the athlete will seal the A and the B bottles. The measuring specific gravity urine. The DCO measures the specific gravity of the athlete's urine to determine whether it meets laboratory standards. If the sample is too dilute, the athlete will be asked to provide additional samples. They'll complete the doping control forms. The athlete completes the DCF either in paper or digital form. The sample is sent to the laboratory. That's pretty amazing. How they're doing this. And I think it's to discourage people to dope or to take any type of drugs. And you might think, that this is crazy. But the thing is, a lot of the Chinese swimmers, believe it or not, they've been under strict eye watch of what's going on. And so it's something, because a lot of people feel that this is a little bit of an invasion of privacy. There could be door knocks at 5 a.m. There are visits on vacations. Testers may show up at schools or offices. So this is all part of when you're in training, going for the Olympics. If an athlete says he or she can't produce a urine sample, the tester will sit down and wait until the time comes. They watch you pee. They take your blood. They become your best friends during an Olympic year. And they want to make sure that you are healthy all the time and that you're not doing anything wrong. The thing is, it's not about the fact that, people are worried that, it is a privacy issue, which I get. But there is a greater concern over the privacy issue that somebody could very easily be sneaking or, doing something illegal to show that they don't have a drug. So I get why they're doing it. I guess I'd like to see it more in a manner that might be a little more private for them. It could be going into a pod. It could be something as simple as, a system that can measure this, but something that can actually do the test without them having to have somebody watch. That just seems a little bit crazy, guys. I got to be honest. And LinkedIn settles an advertiser's lawsuit. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Microsoft, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft owns LinkedIn. They've owned it for a while, and they are settling over the advertiser's lawsuit over the alleged overcharges. Now, LinkedIn has agreed to pay $6.625 million to settle a class action lawsuit alleging it overcharged advertisers by artificial inflating video and ad view counts. The proposed settlement, filed in San Jose federal court and pending approval from the U.S. magistrate Judge Susan Van Keulen, addresses claims from the advertisers who argued that LinkedIn counted views from users scrolling past videos without actually watching them. While LinkedIn denied any wrongdoing, of course they did, it has committed to hiring an external auditor for 2 years to review its ad metrics. The settlement applies to U.S. advertisers who purchased ads on the platform between January 2015 and May 2023, with LinkedIn asserting its dedication to maintaining integrity in its advertising products. You might say, gee, this is great, they're doing it, but they have no choice. If they don't do stuff like this, then, they already were found guilty. So I feel that they're just trying to, rebuild some trust, which is not easy to do. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but Amazon Prime Day had a major disaster with worker injuries. Yes, Amazon Prime Day was a major cause of injuries for workers found by the U.S. Senate. An investigation by the U.S. Senate, led by Senator Bernie Sanders, has revealed that Amazon's warehouses become especially dangerous for workers during Prime Day and the holiday season. citing an increase in injury rates during the peak periods. The report disclosed that the rate of recordable injuries during Prime Day in 2019 exceeded 10 per 100 workers, more than double the industry's average, and the total injury rate was nearly 45 per 100 workers. Despite Amazon's claims of prioritizing employee safety and reducing recordable incidents by 28% since 2019, critics still argue that the intense work volume and pressure to meet sales targets compromise worker safety. Amazon denies the methodology used in the Senate report, asserting it is adequately staffed and prepared for busy shopping periods, while some workers describe their experiences as grueling, other under constant surveillance. So I think the issue I have is that we know Amazon has treated people bad. Okay. I know friends of mine that have had people that have worked there, and they really just work you to the bone and they don't care. Look at the guy that it took 911 4 hours to show up because nobody was allowed to call. They were fearful. And somebody was on the floor, and that person barely lived. All right, guys. So another thing when we're talking about technology, so a lot of the athletes in the Paris Olympics have disclosed as being LGBTQ, openly gay. And you might be asking the number of gay athletes in Paris. So the Paris Olympics broke a record by having 193 openly LGBTQ athletes competing, according to Outsports, a website that compiles databases of openly queer Olympians. And the count surpassed the 186 athletes at the COVID-19 delayed Tokyo Olympics in 2021. So when we think about this, there's been a lot going on with this Olympics. In fact, some of them have, from what we've seen, have wore, let's say, bathing suits. Really, there's very tiny, bathing suits that they wear, which is really not a bathing suit. They wear something that's very, very small, and in many cases had displayed bulges and things like that, and also the rowing team and stuff like that. So Grindr, many of you may be familiar with, or maybe not. So Grindr is limiting location services at the Olympics to prevent LGBTQ athletes. Grindr is basically a dating app for gay or questioning men. And Grindr, the LGBTQ plus dating app, has disabled some location sharing features to protect athletes from harassment or prosecution during the Olympics in Paris. So when we talk about prosecution, so it's illegal to be gay in some countries. And so they want to make sure that those that are not open or those that are, they don't get prosecuted. So that's the main reason they don't come out, because they could be in range of a serious penalty. The Explore feature, which allows users to change their location, will not be available in the Olympic Village to prevent the risk of outing athletes who may be in the closet or hail from countries, like I said, with strict LGBTQ plus laws. Additionally, profiles in the Village will default to hiding distance information, while Grindr is also offering free access to premium features like disappearing messages for users in the area. Grindr has implemented these changes since 2016 after concerns arose about potential outing of athletes during the Olympic Games. Wow, that's a lot. I'm glad to see that they are doing something to protect athletes, and it's sad that we have to fight for freedom in a lot of ways, and it looks like in the Olympics, people unfortunately are not comfortable, and so those people that are open, that came out and that shared their views, and that are living life, and that are just racking up the points on Facebook and Instagram and X and what. I'm glad to see that a company like Grindr is doing what they can to make sure the athletes stay safe, and also to make sure that they are excluded from any type of nasty harassment. All right, guys. This is just absolutely amazing. Meta was criticized for deep fake porn. All right, so Meta must do more, as we know, to address the non-consensual deep fake porn oversight, The board has said. So Meta's oversight board criticized the company for its failure to promptly remove an explicit AI-generated image of an Indian public figure, only doing so after the board intervened. The report highlighted inconsistencies in Meta enforcement against non-consensual sexual images, particularly as AI advancements make such content easier to produce and share. Meta acknowledged its error in allowing the image to remain and indicated plans to address similar instances in the future. Additionally, the board recommended clear guidelines specifying non-consensual content and urged Meta to improve its content moderation in non-Western regions, where many victims of deepfake abuse may not receive adequate protection. Wow, that's a lot, guys. That is, when I say a lot, that is an awful lot. And so, have you been targeted by consensual deepfake pornography? Non-consensual AI-generated deepfake pornography has emerged as a significant issue, impacting high-profile figures like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Taylor Swift, as well as many young women globally. Rapid advancements in AI technology have made it easier for perpetrators to create realistic nude images without consent, raising calls for stronger action from tech companies and regulators. As the problem escalates, lawmakers are working to implement measures to combat the creation and distribution of such harmful content. Media outlets are seeking personal stories from individuals affected by this form of harassment to highlight its impact and the response from law enforcement and other authorities. Wow. So when we think about all this and the personal stories of the deep fake, so what's happening in the non-consensual, so we can explain that, that's when somebody would get a picture of you, either something they took of you, but you didn't get permission to share that publicly on social media, etc. That's an issue there. We've also got issues of deep fake porn when somebody uses AI to create porn. And it's becoming a big issue. But yet people are striking the balance of, does this go against freedom of speech? And I have to say that I don't believe it does, because it's violating somebody's rights of who they stand for, their personal integrity, their private world, and then sharing that with people without their consent. All right, and the European Union, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, has rejected the Alzheimer's drug Lecanemab. The European Medicines Agency, EMA, has rejected the license for Lecanemab, an Alzheimer's treatment that slows cognitive decline, citing that its benefits do not outweigh the risks of serious side effects like bleeding and swelling in the brain. While the drug has shown promise in trials by reducing cognitive decline by about 25% in early-stage Alzheimer's patients and received approval in the U.S. earlier this year, the EMA expressed concerns over amyloid-related imaging abnormalities, ARIA. Meanwhile, the UK's Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA, is still reviewing the drug with a decision expected soon. Experts acknowledge that despite the setback, the results from Lecanemab trials mark a historic moment in Alzheimer's research, indicating that it may be possible to alter the disease's progression and spark further development of new treatments. Wow, a lot. And actors are striking over AI in video games. We heard about this before, and it's coming back again. So actors go on strike over video games AI threat. A major video game set of companies, including Activision, Warner Brothers, and Walt Disney, are facing a strike initiated by Hollywood performers over concerns related to the use of AI, artificial intelligence, in the gaming industry. The move followed 18 months of negotiations between the companies and the union, representing over 2,500 video game performers, where while some key issues like wages and job safety were addressed, protections against the misuse of AI remain unresolved. The Screen Actors Guild, SAG, if you've heard of that before, Federation of Television, and the Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA, expressed that they cannot agree to a contract that lacks clear protection for performers regarding AI, as they fear studios may exploit AI to replicate their voices and likenesses without fair compensation. In contrast, the gaming studios claim they have made significant concessions and are disappointed that the union has chosen to strike despite nearing an agreement that includes meaningful AI protections. I think this is only going to get worse until we start putting the right stuff forward, it's going to be a big, big problem. Big problem, right? Very big problem. And I know what you're probably saying. You're probably saying, is the strike legitimate? Yeah, it's legitimate. I think a lot of people right now are frustrated because, they're being exploited in a way that they didn't think was possible. And I think if you can just put yourself in their shoes for a moment, if you weren't getting, let's say, compensated for your voice being used, that's a big problem. And so another interesting thing I want to share with you about more backlash in the Olympics, which is just one thing I wanted to read to you, is that Google pulls the Gemini AI ad from the Olympics after backlash. The title in the ad was "Help My Daughter Write a Letter." So Google is not winning any gold medals for its Olympic ads this year. After days of backlash, the company has decided to pull its controversial Dear Sydney ad from the Olympic coverage. In the 60-second ad, a father seeks to write a fan letter on behalf of his daughter to her Olympic idol. The U.S. track star Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. The premise is the sort of treachery ad you'd expect to see at the Olympics, but things take a twist when instead of helping his daughter write a letter, he just has Gemini do it for them. This has to be just right, he says. Before prompting Gemini to tell Sydney how inspiring she is, that his daughter plans to break her record one day and to add a sorry, not sorry joke at the end. So I think it really dehumanized people. And I think that's the real reason. So we've talked about a lot of things. AI is going to bring controversy. But I think the main thing when we use technology, we have to realize, are we using technology for good or for bad? Are we using it to help someone's life, or are we using it to hurt or harm someone? And I've told you this before, whether it's technology, whether it's weapons, they are not good or bad in themselves. It's how we choose to apply them that makes them so. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now, but if you don't, I'm going to tell you, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic Saturday, August 2nd, 2024. I hope that you guys have gotten some great insights from this Olympic tech controversy and AI innovations, and how the good can happen, and how we have to be aware of how tech controversies can play, such as the one in the opening ceremonies. And I know lots of people, even some friends of mine, say, hey, John, it was about a pagan this, it was about that. And I respond once or twice, but I'm not looking to get into an argument with them. I just feel that if you've got to challenge me on this, goodbye. Because I don't need to fight for what I believe in. You have a right to agree with me, and you have a right to disagree with me. And I always have a right to disagree as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had a great evening listening to me. Please do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And I'm going to catch you guys real soon next week on the next JMOR Tech Talk Show. If you don't see me on another one of my shows like Inspirations for Your Life later on tonight, or any one of my great videos or other content that I put out, have yourself a fantastic one. And if you're watching the Olympics, I hope you're enjoying it, and really start to take in some of those marvels that allow the Olympics to take place. Have yourself a great one, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Be well, everyone.